Hey guys, PepperAmmy here. This week we are back making cheese. Now it's been a little while since I've made a cheese video and actually posted it. I have made cheese every weekend, at least once since August. So since I started actually making my cheese. So yeah, I have been invested in this quite a bit. I'm actually going to take that out of there because that's going to tip over and fill full of water, and that is not preferable. So we are doing the sous vide method, which is the easiest way. I've got it set on 32 degrees Celsius, or around about, I believe off the top of my head, 88 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm following a rough recipe for a beer infused cheese, or a stout infused cheese, which I've actually got one of in the fridge. I have a coffee stout and mustard cheese maturing in the fridge. I actually have quite a few cheeses in the fridge. I think I've got about 8 on the go at the moment. So I've been doing a lot of practice. But this is not going to be a stout video. Now you might have seen the ingredient required at the corner of your eye, or you might have just, I don't know, read the title of the video, more likely. But it is indeed a bit of Marmite. Now, I am following a rough video, not a rough video, a rough recipe from 2 different recipes and combining it and hoping it works. Is that good? We got a little bit of float on that, but that is fine. That just means water's going to be under it as well. And then, of course, we are going to be adding some soluble calcium into this. Now, this was a 60 ml? Yeah, 60 ml calcium chloride, and I'm actually running low. But we only words are hard. We only want to add 2.5 mils of that. And it's going to be quite a dark cheese because of the Marmite anyway, but I'm going to add in a few drops of annatto. I say a few. I normally get a little bit carried away. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10... 11, 12. Now, annatto is a natural food colouring. It comes from a seed from a tree, and it just makes the milk look a lot creamier. So it's a all natural additive. You don't need to add it. It's purely a cosmetic additive. Then we want to mix that in. Yeah, see, it looks very orange at the moment, but it will give the cheese a nice creamy yellowy colour. There we are. Right, so we want to turn this on. Excuse the beeping. Now, the water is a lot warmer because I used a mixture of hot and cold, but to counteract that, I have just dumped in, 8 litres of refrigerated milk. So the milk is currently under 20 degrees. So that being slightly warmer is not going to be an issue in the slightest. But in order to get on with our Marmite, we are actually going to need to boil the Marmite first. Because in cheese making, very pristine, Marmite is a yeast extract. Yeast plus milk cultures, not really going to mix too well. So even though it is a extract, there is normally yeast and yeast and like a vegetable stock boiled down to form a thick paste, strained off. But we are going to boil this anyway, which is going to kill off any yeast that could possibly remain, as that is going to be nice and sterile to go into our cheese later on. So in order to do that, we want to add about 1 litre of water into a pan, and I thought I had a 300 gram jar, but I've got a 250 gram jar. Now the recipe that I'm roughly following used twice the amount of Marmite / Vegemite, because it was an Australian, and they used 2.5 litres of water. Now I've done a stout infused where I've used 750 mils of stout, and that infused well, so I don't see why using like 3-4 times the amount of water and 2 jars of Marmite is really required. But if it's not a very Marmitey cheese, that will be why. But we won't know for about 2 months, as this is going to be ripening up until Christmas. But anyway, I'm going to get that on the go. I'm going to measure out my water, measure out my Marmite, and I'll be back once this gets up to temperature. Alrighty, we are back. The Marmite is marmiting. I've rinsed out the jar. Got as much Marmite out of that as I possibly could. It is time for the culture. Now we'll be done with the little spoons. There we are. We want to add, as per normal, 1/8 of a teaspoon. There we are. And then hopefully Marmite's going to heat up. I am really fighting to try and work out if I want to put a little bit of cayenne in just for a little bit of heat. I'm not sure. Thinking about it. We'll see. The decision will come later on. Right, we are back. It is time to add in our rennet. So let's get some filtered water out of the fridge. Just help it mix in a little bit. Now once again, we want 2.5 mils. Now once again, this rennet has indeed lasted a little while. Which is always good. Now we just want to stir that in, give her a good old mix, and then we want to leave this for another hour. And just try and settle that down a little bit. Then leave that for an hour to set up nicely, and then comes the cutting. Alright, so I believe the cheese has firmed up nicely. I'm just going to get some paper towel and a spritz of vinegar on my nice palette knife. And where did I put the vinegar? I just had it. There it is. Just kill off any bacteria, yeast, etc. that's on this knife, as I have recently baked bread, so don't want any extra funkies getting in there. And then, as we do, want to get some nice vertical cuts. I have this nice beauty to do the horizontals. So if we just here we have a nice clean break. A quick rinse off because it is wood, so yeah, need to wash that as soon as we used it. And give that somewhere to dry. Then we want to keep this at its current temperature. Alright, there we go. We got some nice curd cutting going on there. It's a relatively small curd, but curd hop, very useful. Then we want to keep that at that temperature for about 5 to 10 minutes. So the cheese has been cooking, or should I say heated. It's gone up to 104 after I cut it and stirred it. And now it is time to drain it. Now, as you can see, there is a lot of whey that's been brought out of this. So now it is time, it is up to temperature, to strain this all out. So I'm going to let that strain for about an hour or so. Just noticed my microphone is now on terrible mode, so I'll make this short and sweet as possible. We are just going to drain this in the sink for around about an hour, and we will come back to it. Right, we are back. Hopefully the microphone is recording this time, as it's had a little charge during that downtime. I've roughly broken up the curds a little bit, and then we're just going to tip that into the Marmite juice. Man, I'm doing everything I can to destroy the colour of the cheesecloth, and every time it comes out of the washing machine, nice and clean and white. Right, so I want to break this up a little bit. I'm not sure I want to stick my hands into Marmite, but I'm just trying to get fairly small chunkies. I know, I'm using my big grown-up words today. As I say, the more surface area we can create, the more of that Marmite we can get into the final cheese. As I say, I'm still really toying with putting a bit of cayenne in. I don't know, I might do. Tempting, really is tempting. And you see when you break open like a curd, the difference. I mean, maybe not so much because the light's not on. There we go, now I can actually see what I'm doing. It's ingenious. I stuck a light on the ceiling and I never remembered to use it. So yeah, I think using that 1 litre is more than enough. Yeah, there you go, you can see it a little bit better now. The difference between what's been coloured and what's not. Now, you just want to occasionally give this a mix. Just to make sure everything is coated. You don't want to over mix it, get too much of the whey out. And you still want to have some of the whey in there. But the Marmite water's not going too cloudy, so that's a good sign. Yeah, just any big bits of curd you want to just break up a little bit. But yeah, I think doing the 1 litre and try and find like a small-ish bit of curd. I mean, it's quite a big chunk. Just want to taste. Ooh. Yes, I'm definitely not adding any salt to this cheese, because Marmite is super, super salty. But, as I say, it's not as Marmitey, so you could up the Marmite factor, but then again, that was literally just a quick little soak in the cheese. So we're going to leave that to soak for about an hour, stirring it occasionally, and then yeah, it'll be time to press it all out. Alright, we are back for this phase. Now, I'm still weighing up the cayenne pepper. I'm thinking about it because, as I say, it's got the saltiness of the Marmite. Yeah, it's got the nice Marmite-y flavour to it. But I feel like it just needs a little kick. But I know from, like, who's going to eat it. Because a lot of people in my family don't like Marmite. But the ones that do like the Marmite don't do spicy food. So I put a little bit. I mean, it's only cayenne, so it's not going to be like massively spicy. And to be fair, a lot of that's about to like wash out with this anyway. I think that was actually a good chunk. I'm going to put a little bit more in. I like how my little bit more is a considerable amount. Yeah, I think that's good. There's a slight heat to it. It's not too bad. Although I do have like cayenne pepper up my nose. So yeah, I think, in my opinion, that was a good shout to do. Alright, what I need to do now, this is washed. Charlotte did wash this for me. I'm just gonna give a little vinegar spritz. Now, I was watching a video about a cheesemaker who has more experience than me, because in my downtime I do watch a lot of cooking videos. But he put like, see, this pan's not going to be deep enough. I need like that pan. But he put the mold in a dish or like a pot, and then put the cheesecloth in it, and then poured like the curds in, so they kind of like fed into the funnel. So then as you press it down, it kind of all feeds in. But I was not that smart. I know, shock horror. Who would have seen that coming? Right. Let's prep the old cheesecloth. Yeah, it's kind of like this, but like reverse. So like, you know, it fed upwards and into the mold. It's good, but it's salty. So salty. That slight bit of cayenne was a good call. I mean, of course I'm going to say it because I know what I like, but how much? I might be able to squeeze that in. Right, so the cheese has been pressing at around 25 pounds for an hour. So hopefully curds have knitted together nicely. I have been looking at another cheese press, but I would have to get a new cheese press and a new cheese mold. But it would open up far more different shapes. So there's a maybe. Let's push that out. Drain this off. Clean that up. I want to flip this, and then we're going to press it at 50. Ooh, that is getting a lot redder. You can definitely see the cayenne pepper coming through now. Ooh. Thank you, dehumidifier, for turning off for a little bit. Ooh. So you've actually got like, quite a nice bit of marbling on this cheese. You can see it's nice and sealed on the bottom there now. Sealed on the top. But we do need to keep on pressing. Out of curiosity, how much are we down to? So we're at like 1.4 a minute ago. Say a minute ago, an hour ago. So 1.35 kilos now. So we got a little bit of extra way out. Because this could end up being over a kilogram. Which would be nice. But I can see there's a lot of whey still in there. Ooh. Oh, my knee. Oh, don't know if the microphone picked that one up. Nice knee crack to end off my night. Wonderful. Right. Is that fairly even? Maybe. Right, now we want to do this so the springs are almost touching. A long way to go. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, there we go. Right, under all of that pressure, it is indeed. Oh yeah. So that extra whey is just pouring out of there now. Right, so I guess that's that done for tonight. And then in the morning, flip it, redress it, and we go again. Alright, we are back. We have the Marmite cheese. Now, this cheese has kind of shrunk a little bit, but that is to be expected as we are drying the whey out. I'm going to do a quick weight just to see. Should still be over a kilogram. 1.1. So yeah, we've managed to get a couple of 100 grams out of the cheese by drying it. Now this has been drying for most of the week as it's now Thursday, so in the PepperAmmy cinematic universe, this has been drying for quite a while. And there's a knife there. Then we want to go, I think I was using like this as a rough measure for the cheese. Because I have these bags, don't mind going a little bit bigger. So So it means the cheese is going to guaranteed fit in it. Hit it with the single seal. And then we want to hit it with the double seal afterwards. And there. We'll wait for it. Now I have spritzed this down with some vinegar as well, just to kill anything that may be on the surface, as it has been sat at room temperature on wood, but it has formed a nice lovely rind, especially where it's not been on anything, because the problem is when you turn it upside down, all of the whey is going to try and drain out the bottom. It's obviously not going to rise up and come out the top. So as you can see from the shape of the cheese, it is a lot more plumper at the bottom, where it's just all flowed down. Right, if we get a nice seal on that, that's going to go super loud. Right, that's actually one of the first times I've actually done this, and it's done it for the first time. And then let it cool down a little bit, and then seal it again. And as you see, this cheese does have a little bit of give to it, but it is at room temperature, so it's going to be a little bit softer. So once you put it in the fridge for a couple of days, it's going to firm up nicely. Now, today is Halloween, so this is... we're in October, so just under 2 months of aging until we get to try this for Christmas. So I've always found, well, I found from the first batch, not always found, but I found from the first batch a month isn't quite enough, and like a month and a half makes a considerable difference. Those extra 14 days make a big difference over the taste. So anyway, I'm going to label this up, I'm going to write it on my sheet, and then stick it in the fridge to age. Now once again, as I say, it's going to weep from the top or the bottom, so you want to turn it daily just to basically try and redistribute the whey that's in there until it settles out. And then, yeah, ready to enjoy later on.